Hello and welcome to Anime Memories, and on this episode, I'm going to be talking about Dennou Coil. This was one of the many anime that was introduced to me because of Arcana. He's one of my favourite YouTubers and he's one of the people that inspired me to start making my own videos. So when he recommends something, I sit up and take notice, and he was pushing this super hard. He really wanted it to get more attention. So I checked it out and I very quickly started to understand why he spoke so highly of it. The show is contemporary science fiction which melds futuristic technology with a modern day setting, and while this is nothing new, the genre has been around forever, I haven't seen anything else that approached it in the way that Dennou Coil did. It's one of the most original anime I've seen, so I'm really excited to be able to share it today. So, let's get into it. 11 years ago, a line of internet-connected glasses were created which allowed people to access this augmented version of reality. This completely changed everything as these glasses became a necessary item for everyday life. Everyone was clamouring to access this digital world. There was a danger to this though. Like all online systems, there are bound to be errors that arise, and because of these errors, these black creatures called illegals started emerging. Yasuko and her friends at the Coil Detective Agency have decided to start investigating these illegals and find out why they started appearing so frequently. One of the main targets of their investigation is a girl named Amasawa, an expert hacker who appears to be trying to use the illegals for her own purposes. When I put on the first episode, I was almost immediately drawn in by the setting. It gave me this sense of wonder. I got to see all these intricate machines, I got to learn about digital items like metatags and how they were created. It was cool, and I was always anticipating what I'd get to learn about next. Being that all this stuff is pretty complicated, they decided to introduce it gradually, so the first third of the show was spent building up the world and the characters. They do this by having the kids go out and have standard kid adventures with this new VR-based technology. They have digital fights, they go searching for metabugs, which is a form of currency, and they go off the beaten path to find places they've never been before. This was great for a while, it was fun, the humour was good. However, it gradually becomes more and more tiresome. When you start getting towards the halfway mark, the main plot gets almost completely pushed aside to make room for more one-off self-contained episodes. This caused the pacing to slow to a crawl, and it killed my motivation to keep watching. At the end of Disc 2, it took a long time before I put in Disc 3 because it felt like the series was spinning its wheels and not going anywhere. There were speckles of progress here and there, but that wasn't enough. I wanted it to move faster. And it sucks I have to say this because some of these one-off stories were great. They were well written, there were some creative scenarios, they fleshed out the characters and the environment. They weren't pointless filler, each episode had a purpose and added to the overall picture. But I still couldn't help feeling bored through most of them. I originally thought the problem was with me. I don't usually enjoy episodic formats, so I thought it was just my personal preference souring my opinion of otherwise well done episodes. However, I went on my anime list and I found that quite a few people had the exact same problems I did. They also thought the middle was a bit dull and they were frustrated like me with how sluggish the pacing got. So there's a legitimate dry spell that you're gonna have to make your way through. But it all becomes worth it when the third act hits and the overarching plot starts moving again. It gets so complex and fascinating. There are multiple factions involved, each with their own goals. The mystery around Amasawa starts coming into its own. Then you have the illegals, who are never portrayed as straight up evil. At the start, they're just animals trying to survive. But towards the end, you get to learn that there's more to it than that. And I could go on, there are more interesting facets that I haven't covered yet, however, that would drag out this video too much. The main point I'm trying to make is that this story is really well put together. There's all this important information for you to take in, and yet it all connects in a way that makes perfect sense. At least for the most part. They sometimes rely too much on exposition, and when you're sitting there listening to a 5-minute explanation on coils, cyberspace, imago and other crap, a few details are bound to go over your head. Although this doesn't take anything away from the climax where these average kids get the opportunity to be heroes and fight against something that's much larger than them. It's actually kind of inspirational. There were certainly highs and lows with this story. I went from not wanting to watch it all to not being able to stop watching, so If you're like me and you're getting a bit bored in the middle, stick it out, it gets awesome towards the end. Now, characters in anime are often extremely expressive to the point where they'll start flailing their arms around and yelling loudly whenever they feel the slightest hint of an emotion. These highly exaggerated reactions happen so often that I kind of became desensitized to them. I just see it as normal. So when a show comes along and doesn't do that, when the characters are acting like people rather than cartoons, it surprises me, and that's what happened here. This is one of the most realistic portrayals of children I've seen in anime. Their dialogue, behaviours and insecurities mimic what I'd expect from actual kids. I will always remember the scene where Fumiya is spanking her younger brother in the junkyard. I'm sure that situation has come up a lot in real life. Since the cast is very much down to earth, it helps make the sci-fi aspects of this world seem more believable. There are some mind-blowing moments in here with technology that's probably not going to be invented for hundreds of years and may never be invented at all. However, it still felt real because these characters seemed real. While the story was what got me invested, I don't think I would have been able to stay invested without the relatability that the cast brings. Keeping on the topic of important elements to this series, we now have the stunning visuals. The art here is fantastic, the animation is smooth and seamless, which is to be expected from a Madhouse show. But ultimately, the most essential visual component that gives Dennou Coil its own unique identity is the character and world design. This cast doesn't look like your standard set of anime kids. Their facial shapes and facial features are all wildly different, and their mannerisms and body language vary depending on their personalities. This means that each character has a sense of individuality, a quality that's sorely missing in a lot of anime. Outside of the human characters, there are also many wonderfully designed creatures and robots. The main one that impressed me was the design of the Sachis. They somehow managed to be intimidating despite looking like those punchable clown toys that you find at kids' birthday parties. And then we've got the design of the setting now. The modern world is about what you'd expect. The schools, shops and houses, while well drawn, are fairly ordinary. And this provides a great amount of contrast to the cyber world where the illegals come from. This place looks both intriguing and hazardous. You kind of want to learn more about it, but at the same time, you don't want anybody to go there because they're putting their life at risk. The abundance of shadows and dark colours creates a tense atmosphere that makes you nervous whenever a character has to step foot in there. Overall, I absolutely fell in love with Dennou Coil's art direction. It's been months since I found an anime that looked this amazing. So, here's where the praise is going to come to a screeching halt because I didn't care much for the soundtrack. Now, there's nothing wrong with the quality of the music. I would even say that it's quite well composed. My issue is that some of the tracks were repeated too often. After a while, I was able to recognise how they were using each piece of music. There's the happy song for whenever the characters were having a good old jolly time. Then there's the unsettling song for the supernatural horror scenes. And of course, we have the comedy hijinks song, which played pretty much every time Daichi came on screen. Being able to easily pinpoint how each track was trying to manipulate me completely ruined the mystique. Outside of the opening and ending, both of which were excellent, there's nothing remarkable here. For the longest time, Dennou Coil flew under the radar because it never had an English release. It was in licensing limbo with nobody wanting to pick it up. Thankfully, that's all changed now. In 2015, Siren Visual released the DVDs in Australia, and last year, it got a US release and an English dub, so it's much more accessible. If you're sick of seeing the exact same stories told over and over, Dennou Coil needs to be on your watch list. It shows that creativity is still alive in anime. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you have any feedback, feel free to leave a comment, and if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.